Initially, I thought I was making a film that would uncover who was behind Qanon with this bigger thematic question of digital free speech online. Q started in October of 2017, but when Reddit bans QAnon, almost a year into Q's drops, my ears perked up. What was an idea that was so dangerous that it warranted being banned? I set out to unmask Q because all of its power was derived from anonymity. We took 3 weeks of just, let's see what the main theories are. We drew up a list of possible suspects. I decided to focus on the place where Q posts, and that's 8chan. Fred, who created 8chan, was the most public-facing, so I reached out to him on Twitter just to talk about the free speech angle of it, but then also talk about Q. He said, look, you might want to talk to Jim and Ron Watkins, if they'll talk to you. I knew that Ron, aka Code Monkey, was one of the only characters mentioned in Q drops by name. There's a lot of anxiety and distrust within the Q community in general. Even though there was sort of off-camera hang time, it was very unclear what exactly the nature of the relationship was.
Only Q would do a documentary about himself,
I think when you watch the series, you're just figuring out how to filter the stories that unreliable narrators are telling you. The guys who run 8chan really embody their website, always trying to provoke a response out of you. To some extent, they're real-life shitposts.
You will burn all the books.
I have to think that they enjoyed the cat and mouse aspect of that as well. There was always this undercurrent of danger. Like with everything else on 8chan, it is very difficult to tell how much they're kidding.
It's also a good hammer for smashing things.
One of the biggest challenges was bouncing back and forth between two sides that hate each other to tell a holistic story here that captured all of these competing sides and perspectives. The A story is the investigation, trying to figure out who's behind QAnon. The B story is this emerging rivalry between these characters. And the C story is the impact of Q. This production took me all over the world. It took me to Macau, Johannesburg, Japan, Manila, Italy. The pig farm is a place of legend and lore on 8chan. Many believe it's the place where Jim Watkins disposes of his enemies. They also lean into that lore a little bit as well.
It's where we get rid of the bad users.
No. Did I say that? No.
I think part of why when you watch the series and you're not sure just how serious to take them, if someone's joking or they're not joking, if they're dangerous or they're not dangerous, and that's part of the shield that's intentional, to make things seem a little absurd and silly to mask something more sinister. I think for anybody who had been following Q, what happened on the 6th didn't come as a huge surprise. The 6th was really the moment where Q's narrative was either going to be made real or not. In fact, I'm grateful that it wasn't worse. I'm still surprised how much it took hold in American society, the amount to which it grew. The 6th didn't happen because of Q, but it also wouldn't have happened without Q. At its core, it is this radical rejection of elites and expertise. When they feel like the institutions have lied to them, Q offers people a very black and white fiction that's interactive and that's easier to understand. When I look at something like what made Q grow, I would go back to the erosion of privacy. The extraction of all our personal information made manipulation so possible in the first place. Big tech doesn't bring up the algorithms as the problem here. In fact, they suggest that algorithms are the solution. Data analysis and extraction is required for their business model. All these thousands of data points were used in the 2016 election, and they're used all the time still to this day to funnel people towards certain ideas.
They're all puppets.
Q is like the spectacle in The Wizard of Oz. It's what everyone imagines the wizard to be. In reality, when you pull back the curtain, it's a handful of absurd characters looking to conquer the world. I'm not saying that Ron is the only person behind Q, but he's the linchpin. Something that Luther Blissett told me that stuck with me: if you try to debunk it or you attack a conspiracy theory, you become a part of it. So instead, I took an approach of, let's treat Q like it's a magic trick. But instead of just showing the magic trick, let's show how the magic trick works. Let's demystify it, because once you know how a magic trick works, it can't work again.